1971, I was clerking on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. August 15th, Nixon severs the relationship between gold and the dollar, so essentially defaulting. And I walked on the stock exchange. I said, financial crisis. I would expect it to be down a lot. It was up a lot. I studied history and found that the exact same thing happened in March 5th, 1933, with Roosevelt doing the same thing, basically, on the radio. And then I understood things better. So what happened for me over the last number of years is there are three big things that are happening in my lifetime that didn't happen. And I actually found that with research five. So the first is the amount of debt creation and monetization of that and how it's carried through the system. The second is the amount of internal political, social, economic conflict that is now going on. And the third is the rising of a great power to challenge the existing world order and the existing world power of China, and the geopolitical, in which, when I was born in 1949, and 4 years after the New World Order began in 45, and the United States, of course, was a much more dominant country then, had 80% of the world's gold, 50% of the world's economy, the only monopoly on military power because of nuclear and all of that, and it's declined on a relative basis. And that led me to do research, which I needed to do the last 500 years of research to follow. I wanted to study the rise and decline of currencies, reserve currencies, and their empires, and I went back. And in doing that, I also discovered that their acts of nature actually had bigger effects than the first three of those, even with the wars, because of droughts, floods, and pandemics. And I know that you really have thoughts about climate change and its effects, so I'll be interested in hearing those, because I think that's a factor. And then number five was the greatest, of course, is man's capacity to adapt and invent, because in one way or another, if you look at that, per capita income rises, living standards rise over periods of time. But these big cycles and these big events are dominant. So those are, I think almost everything can fall into those five categories,